If I'm being honest with you, I was gambling on the way to work, at work, in the toilets, on the way back home, while my wife's sitting there, even while she's asleep in bed. I must have been getting about 4 hours of sleep.
Reason gambling works, the reason why people will throw their lives away, the reason why people go back again and again and again to places like Las Vegas and Atlantic City is because of the hope and anticipation. Those are cities and places built on dopamine. Right? They are leveraging your dopamine system. Gambling addiction is particularly sinister because the next time really could be the thing that changes everything. Unlike other addictions, the next time really could change everything, and that's embedded in the mind of the gambling addict. And rarely does it work out in favor of the well-being of the gambling addict and their family.
Addictions are no joke. I don't want to make light of it because it breaks households. Like, it is one of the worst addictions you could possibly have. The scary part about it is it doesn't feel like I'm losing a lot until I really look at it. Because you're placing these $10 bets on so many different things, and you're like, oh, bro, it's just $10. What's $10? And then you add it up times whatever, how many bets you placed. And then you're like, oh no, that's a lot more money than you expected.
I had over 100 accounts with different companies, because if I felt like I wasn't winning on one website, I'd try another one.
For Jo, a one-off bet on football with family spiralled into an obsession with online slot machines. She lost her hair through the stress, not to mention money and relationships.
I'd manipulate my family and say, you know, I'm struggling a little bit for money, could I have some money? And I would just gamble it. I turned into a completely different person. It got to the point where, you know, I didn't want to be alive anymore because I didn't know how it was ever going to stop.
The stereotype of the gambling addict is still the man in the bookies on the high street, but the reality for women tends to be at home on the sofa, online or on a phone. It is an isolating and a lonely habit, and new data shows women are more likely than men to hide their problem. In a new survey shared exclusively with 5 News, 73% of women with a gambling problem said they wouldn't speak out, even to family and friends. That compares to 60% of men. Stacey is trying to break that taboo, sharing her recovery and offering advice to thousands of followers on social media.
Do you think that stigma made it harder for you to reach out for help when you really needed it?
100%.
Out of my Tuesday night Gamblers Anonymous meeting, and we were discussing, you know, what brought us into recovery and what's kept us here. And it just got me thinking that my addiction and addiction in general, pride will keep you in your addiction, and pride will tell you that you don't need help, and pride will tell you that you can do it on your own. And humility, being humble, is what's got me to this point. I'm 347 days clean right now. I have had in the past 22 months of clean time, and one other time 20 months of clean time. Those were my 2 longest clean times over 23 years of gambling. Those were my only clean times, really. And so yeah, I've had a longer clean time than what I have right now, but my pride got in the way of that and caused me to relapse because I was doing it on my own and thought I didn't need any help. And this 1 year of recovery that I've had has been the most fulfilling time of my life. And just being surrounded with people that struggle and are open with their struggles and support me in my struggle, and just being humble and knowing that I can't do it.
Where you think the addiction could be the solution to the addiction. What I see time and time with gamblers chasing losses, if I can just hit big like they often have at some point in their gambling career, then I can have enough money to get out of this. Another thing is the acceptance of it, the lack of resources, the lack of community that we have, unfortunately, right now for gamblers is one of the biggest challenges. I didn't know that gambling treatment existed until about 3 years ago. Certain certain insurance companies have exclusions for gambling disorders. Certain policies, that's an exclusion. They will not pay for a gambling disorder. You're not going to get an abscess from sitting down at a blackjack table. You're not going to overdose on a slot machine and have to spend 3 days in a hospital. And so I really think it's just not as cost effective for them to treat it. Only issue is a gambling disorder. They don't have any diagnosis, and we can't in good faith give a diagnosis. It's completely left up to that client to pay for treatment or risk hitting the depths that lead so many to suicide.
So what makes gambling addiction much more worse compared to all the other addictions out there? Now, they all have the same underlying thing. However, with gambling, when activated, it amplifies the need for it much more. So whenever someone is in addictive behavior or has an addictive personality, they are looking for that next reward hit. And that reward gives them something called dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical released inside of our body which looks for more rewards. So that could be down to having that next drink, having that next smoke, having that next hit, placing that next bet. Even right now on social media, when you're scrolling, that endless hours of scrolling, you only get that hit when you've activated the reward chemical, which is getting the information or getting that reel that serves what you're looking for. Why is gambling more powerful? Well, gambling activates and rewards the most powerful thing that people look for: money. Gambling is the only addiction where you can win